In Tehran, three battles define Iran's future: a clash with the nuclear watchdog, reformists daring to defy hardliners, and a space race reaching for the skies. Talks with the IAEA drag on, reformists demand change, and the Soleimani satellite network prepares for launch. War scars, economic collapse, and ambition collide. This is Iran at a crossroad. Talks between Iran and the International Atomic Energy Agency are set to continue this week, as Tehran seeks to define its future engagement with the UN watchdog following the Israeli strikes on nuclear and missile facilities in June. According to Iranian state media, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Bakai confirmed on August 18th that discussions with the IAEA are ongoing and will continue in the coming days. He added that Tehran never halted dialogue, but questioned whether the agency intends to play what he described as a constructive role, or a negative one that he claimed would serve Israeli interests.
Talks between Tehran and the International Atomic Energy Agency are ongoing and will continue in the coming days. We never stopped talks with them, but they must clarify whether they intend to play a constructive role or a negative one that serves the Zionist regime.
The IAEA's Deputy Director General, Massimo Aparo, visited Tehran last week to open the latest round of negotiations. Inspectors have been barred from Iranian sites since the conflict in June, when Israel carried out a 12-day bombing campaign on nuclear and missile facilities, joined by a US strike on the fortified Fordow site. The agency's director, Rafael Grossi, has said his top priority is to return inspectors to Iranian facilities to verify uranium stockpiles and assess the damage. In late June, Iran passed legislation suspending cooperation with the IAEA, accusing the agency's Board of Governors of emboldening Israeli action. Meanwhile, tensions with Europe have also sharpened. Bakai criticized a joint letter by the United Kingdom, France and Germany, which warned they may reimpose sanctions over Iran's nuclear activities. He said the three governments were pursuing what he called a destructive role, aligned with Zionist interests. Iran's Reform Front has issued one of its most direct challenges yet to government policy, urging sweeping political and nuclear reforms in a statement released on August 17th. The coalition of 27 reformist organizations said the country's social fabric had been gravely damaged, with public life marked by despair and anxiety. Citing the aftermath of the 12-day war with Israel, runaway inflation, and a collapsing currency, the group warned that economic paralysis was now a greater risk than ever.
The aftermath of the recent 12-day war with Israel, coupled with runaway inflation, industrial stagnation, the collapse of the national currency and capital flight, had created a more acute risk of economic paralysis than ever before.
The statement called for a voluntary suspension of uranium enrichment and full monitoring by the International Atomic Energy Agency in exchange for lifting sanctions. Reformists argued that such steps could create conditions for comprehensive negotiations with the United States and, ultimately, the normalization of relations. Former President Hassan Rouhani echoed these demands, stressing the need for a new national strategy. In remarks quoted by Entercab last week, Rouhani said sovereignty belonged to the people, and that improving relations with Europe, neighbours, and even the United States was both necessary and a national duty.
There is no way to save the country except for all of us to become servants of the people, to recognize that sovereignty belongs to the people. The Iranian nation owns Iran. If we can improve relations with Europe, our neighbors in both East and West, even reduce tensions with the United States, and it serves our interests, then why not? Not only is there nothing wrong with it, it is our duty and obligation.
The Reform Front also urged the release of political prisoners, an end to restrictions on opposition figures, and curbs on the role of the military in politics and the economy. Its roadmap extended to economic reforms aimed at breaking oligarchic control and creating equal opportunity. Hardline outlets quickly rejected the proposals. Kayhan daily accused the reformists of aligning with Western governments, while the IRGC-affiliated Fars news agency called the statement a charter of submission. Iran plans to launch the first satellites in its new Soleimani constellation by March 2026, according to Hassan Rouhani, head of the Iranian Space Agency. The project will mark the country's first narrowband satellite network, aimed at supporting communications and the Internet of Things. Rouhani told Tasnim news agency that the initial phase will involve building nearly 20 satellites. They will be placed in orbits with varying inclinations to provide narrowband services. He said, technical challenges and delays are natural in the space industry, but described progress so far as satisfactory.
In the initial phase, nearly 20 satellites will be built and placed in orbits with different inclinations to provide narrowband communications aimed at developing Internet of Things services.
The constellation, named after Qasem Soleimani, the late commander of Iran's Quds Force, is being developed by a consortium of government and private entities. Rouhani said design work began in late 2023, with many subsystems already under construction. Test launches of prototype satellites are expected this year, followed by production beginning in 2025. Rouhani added that operational launches of the constellation will start in early 2026 and continue into 2027. The announcement follows Iran's launch of the Nahid-2 telecommunications satellite aboard a Russian Soyuz rocket. Rouhani has since said a second version of Nahid-2 will be launched domestically on the Simorgh rocket, highlighting Tehran's efforts to expand its independent launch capacity. Iran is also pursuing heavier launches such as the Sarir and Soroush classes and expanding the Chabahar spaceport. Meanwhile, the Revolutionary Guard has conducted suborbital tests of its cast carrier. Western governments remain wary, warning that satellite technology can be applied to ballistic missiles.